just a small lesson about giving you some ideas for what to do if dog pose doesn't work for you. Now, dog pose may be a pose that doesn't work for you if you're having pain in your shoulders, if you had bursitis or whatever. If it hurts your shoulders, dog pose, then you should take it out of the practice. But I'd like you to have something else to do. So some people can do plank pose with the arms forward as opposed to dog pose with the arms up the head. So they're kind of different in terms of how the muscles in the shoulder work with weight bearing. Okay, so this lesson is about giving you variations both for plank and dog pose. Okay, so let's begin. Let's begin on all fours and work out the shape and the support even though we're not going to be weight bearing. So push the hands down and lift your front body up. When we lift the front body up, the tailbone goes down slightly. But we're in particular looking to lift up between the shoulders here to support the shoulders. We want to squeeze the head of the shoulders into the midline and we want the arms to be straight. Breathe in and breathe out. So this is an option for plank. Really pushing down and lifting up. The arms are straight. We've got the shoulders over the wrists. Let me check if I got that. And you breathe in and breathe out. Yeah. So this lift, this strength where I'm pushing down and lifting up is entirely different to this. Okay? So don't think that you're not doing the work. Now, if that's fine, you could also do right leg back and lift. Bring that leg down and then left leg back and lift. Okay. Now, let's come up to standing. I'd like to give you another variation for plank. We could do plank facing the wall. So let's stabilize the pelvis, lift up through the midline, press into the feet. And here we are, again, with the wrists in front of the shoulders. Now, could you look at my back? Collapsed back. Stabilized pelvis now, and the navel's pulling back. I'm pushing the hands on the wall, and I'm lifting the chest. The arms are straight, and I'm squeezing the head of the shoulder into the midline. I'm wanting to pull the navel back. I'm wanting to take the ribs back. So it's a very strong plank pose, even though we're not weight bearing. Okay, and then bring the hands down. So one more plank variation. If you were to stand near a wall, feet hip width apart, as close to the wall as your buttocks allow, so there'll be a heel distance, we'll tuck under, we'll lean back on the wall, and get as much of the back to the wall. So the front of the pelvis comes up, the navel pulls back, and you're pulling your shoulders back to the wall, and you're engaging your ribs. And then this gets a little more complicated as the arms come up. We're going to hold the hands as though we're planking. Yeah, so this is incorrect, and this is correct. This is the work. The head of the shoulders is staying back to the wall, and I'm pulling the navel back. Now, if this hurts your arm, if this is not the range of movement you can do, you could still be here. Yeah, drawing back to the wall, really trying to get as much of your body to press back to the wall. It's very strong. Of course, you're breathing in and breathing out. Okay, so there's some variations for plank. Okay, so dog pose. Dog pose is also useful because we're developing our strength, but it's a great pose to find your hamstrings and extend your spine. So if we consider what would you do instead of dog pose, I would suggest box pose. Okay, so let's look at box pose because we get an extension of the spine and we work the hamstrings as well. Thigh bones, hip bones, and above the hips are your waist. You're going to bring your hands at waist height to the wall. Now the hands are shoulder width apart. Push the hands on the wall and walk yourself all the way back until your feet are under your hips. Let's begin with the legs bent. Squeeze the knees together. Like we do in dog pose, we start with bent legs. Now push the hands down, keep the shoulders in line with the elbows, and again, can you lift your front body up slightly? So not so much that the tailbone goes down, but enough so there's support. Because the upper abdominal muscles also help support the shoulder. Take a breath here. And if you have the range in your legs, straighten your legs. Quite like dog pose, where we're rotating the pelvis, we're finding the back of the legs, we're pushing the arms straight, the neck is soft, and you're breathing in and breathing out. Good. So to come out of this, you could come into something quite like plank lift the chest and press forward. And then come back to box pose. If this is in your range, inhale, lift the chest, tailbone comes forward, push, and exhale back. If plank is not in your range, bend your legs and step forward and come out of that. Okay, it's important when you're doing box pose that the shoulders are broad. I should have done this first. And that you have what's called an external rotation in the arms. So the upper outer arm turns down. The head of the humerus stays back and it's supported by the front body. Yeah, it's one of those ongoing actions. So let's do that again in box pose. Hands at the waist, spread the fingers, walk yourself back. Upper, outer arms are turning down, the arms are straight. There's a squeezing in, the legs are bent, one breath. And then straighten the legs. Lift the front body up. Ears are in line with your arms. So box pose. Box pose is a great variation for dog pose, for those people that can't weight bear with their arms. Bend your knees and look up. My teacher always says to me, still says to me, there's always a way. Okay, I hope this lesson is useful, and you could play this lesson at any other time we were doing sun salutations or things that weren't working for you. Okay, great. See you on the mat.